Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 of a best of 3 between Vesely and Gonzo in the semi-finals of the Season 4 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Orsha North, and on our left, playing in the red team, on the Soviet side, we have Vesely, also known as Ura, playing with the 10th Guards Tank Corps and the Vanguard deployment type. And on our right, in the blue team, playing on the Axis side, we have Gonzo using the 28th Jager and the Vanguard deployment type. So we're into the semi-finals already. You guys didn't miss any games. The second best of 3 that was supposed to be played out in round 1 wasn't in the end. Sahanda ceded his game because he wasn't available. And so Vesely, who I think subbed in for someone else potentially, moved on to the semi-finals immediately to face off against Gonzo, who seeded first in his group. So Gonzo is certainly a tough one to take down. Vesely is still a good player, but I would say Gonzo is certainly the favourite here. Now, in fact, do you have the bans for this game? The bans as a whole, I don't know who banned what, but I'll just list those out for you guys so you have an idea of what's strong at the moment. So in this game, the 6th Airborne was banned, and also the 3rd Guards Tank Corps, the 3rd Canadian Infantry, the 3rd Guards Mechanized, the 3rd US Armoured, the 2nd US Indian Head, the 7th Mechanized, and the 5th Cavalry. So you can see there's quite a lot of sort of Western Allied divisions in there, 6th Airborne, 3rd US, and 2nd US. Those all getting taken out. 3rd Guards Tank Corps is quite a common ban still because of its use of the Shermans with its infantry and other support weapons, but also the fact that it can bring in IS-2s when it needs to. 3rd Guards Mechanized is a very strong, aggressive division. So there's a lot of quite meta picks taken out of the equation there. So I think it wasn't the 5th Cavalry, it was 5th Cavalleria Motorizata, the Romanian division was actually taken out of the picture, which is interesting to see. A recent DLC division be taken out of the picture. I say recent, it has been DLC since, but yeah. Either way, let's have a look at the divisions on show today. So we got the 10th Guards, very strong, aggressive, early game armor division, which has a lot of stolen German armor, so it has Panthers and Tigers available throughout the game, and then quite a strong artillery tab, I think, as well. Haven't seen the 10th Guards in a little while, but 28th Jager, very strong array of infantry, quite cost-effective infantry. They've got their Jagers, their Sturmjagers. They've got plenty of nice support weapons to back them up. There's some reasonably good bombers and stuff you can bring in. It'd be interesting to see how Gonzo kind of lays out his division here, because I think there's a lot of ways that you can really put together a 28th Jager, and I'm not too familiar with it in 1v1. I'm more of a 3v3, 4v4 player personally. So anyway, let's have a look at what's going on. On the top here, PTRS Flamers, we got the Dosor squad coming in the BA-64B and the Gavaria there with a T-34 at the back. There's 2 PTRS heading to the town here with a Maxim and a T-34. Then there's a bunch of Flamers, another PTRS, a Maxim, and more Recon heading to the center with an SU-122 at the start. Nice. There's 3 T-34s and an Avto with the Tanko Thessaloniki, 2 Maxims and the PTRS. He definitely is lacking a lot of line infantry like Kavadia, but he makes up for it with a lot of medium tanks, which is what you kind of expect out of the 10th Guards anyway. On the side of Gonzo, it looks like very infantry-based. Lots of Jager, Jager Pioneer, Panzerjäger, Jager Pioneer. If you're at the front there, Pack 38 coming onto the ridge, 2 Pack 38s with 2 MG42s, Ersatztruppen Jägers to follow. On the bottom side here, we've got the Pack 38 Jager, Ersatztruppen pushing into the town. Or PTRS on the top side is going to get a Jager squad. Very nice. Jaegers on the bottom side as well, and Panzerjägers. Now, Jaegers are quite an interesting unit because they do have an MG42, but they are primarily close-range infantry. They have a lot of MP40s. Well, that's going to be another Ersatztruppen taken out. 2 Ersatztruppen taken out. Gonzo getting sloppy here at the start. Maybe he's going to lose more. Okay, manages to get those Jaegers unloaded. They're going to wipe out that PTRS very quickly. This Flamer unit is revealed, going to get taken out as well. Those flamers not really holding the front line very well, and that's going to cede, what, 1, 2, maybe 3 flags at the start of the game? That's not good at all. I mentioned just briefly how I don't think that Vesely has enough line infantry at the start of the game here, and it might cost him quite a bit. The PE2 though coming in with the payload of 250 and 100 kilogram bombs is going to try and take out that Pak-38 and will succeed in doing so. Focke-Wulf also came in with a bombing strike onto the infantry of Vesely. That's not going to affect these tanks too much as they start making a very heroic charge towards this town. As long as he can keep these Jaegers pinned down, he doesn't have to be worried too much, and the Pak-38, whilst it can engage at close range, will come under fire from both of the machine guns and the HE of that T-34 very quickly indeed. So it's got to get the kill, otherwise it's just straight up dead. BA-64 actually rushing ahead like this is really smart, because it is going to allow Vesely to know if he can follow that up soon after. Jaegers have made their way into the town here. PTRS is managing to escape. T-34 is trying to hold the ground, but just not enough Gvardia, in my opinion, at the front here to stop Gonzo from going through him. On the bottom side, the abundance of medium tanks has actually managed to get the better of the Jaeger and the Ersatztruppen. So whilst Gonzo does have a nice salient on the top side, Vesely is making a strong push on the bottom side. There is quite a lot of infantry on this hill that will certainly be able to deal with the Aptos and the PTRS squad in their way. So this could make some serious ground for Gonzo capturing a flag down here. He can also just fill the gap, of course, with the Ersatztruppen, and he's bringing in a couple of AT guns as well. I think he's just trying to maybe ambush these medium tanks, or at least get set up to do so. Pak-38 looking for the kill onto the M2A1, but that's probably going to get into cover. Jaegers here coming under fire from the Su-122. This is a really awesome unit you don't get to see very often. So there we go. Firing away. Self-propelled howitzer there. Completely whiffing on that one. Wow, that was a shot that went way off. By the way, T-34 trying to shoot stuff on the hill. Gvardia getting slammed by the MG42s at a distance. Those Jaegers, they can put down a lot of fire with these MG42s, but they will eventually run out of ammo and be forced to rely on their MP40s, at which point you probably want to turn off the rifles so that they don't reveal themselves at range. Or at least put them on return fire. This BA-64B is making a little bit of a push through the centre here to see what he can find. But there's nothing really to back it up. I found it really smart doing that in the town here, because if that survived, then the tanks could easily follow up. And I was kind of expecting a bit of a quicker play there from Vesely, but he has managed to secure the town on the bottom side. It's currently only 13 to 11 due to the centre flag being contested by Gonzo. But that one Ersatztruppen, once it gets spotted, if it gets spotted, will be able to be taken out. Vesely has had a lot of recon on the field so far, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him bring someone into the centre in order to spot units like this that are capturing these flags. BA-64B, however, on the top side does go down to the Panzerjäger. Does sort of just have to stand by and let that happen. Jaeger Pioneer moving in. Jaeger Pioneers are actually pretty decent mid-range squads. They've got the HG43s there and the MG42s, so can deal a lot of damage at the mid-range, whilst also having the HE for the closer range engagements. The Jaeger there, it did use a Panzerschreck on the half-track, reveal itself long enough for the T-34 to get a few shots in. BA-64B is moving back to, I think, help provide recon there. Flamers trying to get on top of the Ersatztruppen. More Ersatztruppen on the way. These AT guns are in position and ready to get some side shots onto these T-34s. Meanwhile, in the sky, Gonzo's brought in his Focke-Wulf with the 4 50-kilogram bombs. The PE2 with the 4 100-kilogram bombs and the 2 250s coming in. Drops them. Will he be able to pin these and not his own units? That is the question. No, he doesn't manage to get it done. Jaeger Pioneer gets off the grenade. Flamers go down. Focke-Wulf now looking for the engagement with the Cobra. The Cobra should be able to outmatch a bombing Focke-Wulf, but we shall see. Head on, they're probably just going to end up killing each other. So it looks like, sensibly, Vesely is getting his out of there, whilst the Pak-37 on the bottom side might kill off this Focke-Wulf. So nice play. Now there's Focke-Wulf on the top side looking for the chase onto the bomber, which did manage to kill off one of the Jaeger Pioneer on the top side. But here we go, the 45 mils are trying to get penetrating shots into these T-34s, but with the 90mm of frontal armor, that is a difficult ask of these AT guns. He will eventually penetrate, as long as they're not killed off, but there goes one of them. The second one's being forced to move as flames are lit underneath it. Nice strafing run there, finishes off the Maxim. That's going to stop these as that's strafing from being chunked. Oh, good shot there though. Gets through that armor. Gonzo scores 1 kill at least with those AT. We've got the Stug up on the hill. That's looking for engagements with T-34s from a distance. The Stugs do deal with T-34s quite well. And they do have a favourable engagement due to the penetration value that the Stug has. Flag 43 now being brought in onto that topside hill. 14 to 10 to Gonzo currently in flags. Whilst this one is still contested. And also the town here is now fully under control of Gonzo. So that's the 14 there. Stug does finish off that tank. Bottom side looks like that's being marked by Vesely as it does engage his T-34. This 45mm not getting involved at the moment, but the Jaegers slowly pushing through here. I think Gonzo knows that the PTRS is here, so he's trying to flush that out. Meanwhile, these ones will continue forwards. On the bottom side, these did not continue onwards. They just captured this flag and then they've stuck in their position. Now, Vesely does still control the flags on the bottom town and here. He could very quickly lose his position here if he's not careful, and that would be 3 flags going over to Gonzo, and things would end very fast. So he's got to get this reinforced, got to get more infantry in here, and then support it well with these medium tanks. Because I think the medium armor play so far from Vesely could work very well, or has worked very well, when he's supported it with adequate infantry. But now the infantry is gone, it leaves his medium tanks very vulnerable to AT guns and other infantry pushing forwards. If there was, for example, this Panzerjäger hanging around down here, then he'd be in trouble even more. But he's managed to get away with it for the time being. But since Gonzo is pushing in, things might change soon. Stug 3, not going to take its chances against the Su-122. The Su-122 can one-shot kill the Stug if it gets on target. The Stug 3, however, is a lot more accurate, so you'd expect the Stug 3 to win that engagement. Jaeger's actually managed to break through the Tankos there. That's really interesting to see, the matchup between those. One-on-one, I would expect the Tankos to win, of course. Maybe it's just because there's 2 squads here and they all have those submachine guns. Aptos have been dropped in here. Aptos will be a nice matchup for the Jaegers at least. That's something that he can try and do. The Ersatz pushing forwards didn't really make too much ground. Is the Su-122 going to hit the first shot? It is, and the Stug goes down. That's just how lethal those Su-122s can be, but the T-34 has died all the same, and that's going to be a 15th flag over to Gonzo. So, looks like Gonzo's actually pulling the aircraft of Vesely over his AA. Vesely kind of fell for it with the PE2 at least. I'm not sure why he was chasing the Focke-Wulf with the PE2. Seems like a bad choice. But now 2 fighters in the air, trying to micro his Focke-Wulf onto that PE2. The PE2 further down. Or the Cobra, sorry, further down. Might be able to win the engagement against the Focke-Wulf because of the 37. Yeah, the 37's actually got the fallback onto the Focke-Wulf. Nice one. But, oh, the second Focke-Wulf coming in there perfectly to take that out. Nicely done. This pilot injure will get that shot down. If he is targeting that directly, it will eventually die. Unless it decides to fly away. Looks like Gonzo might just get away with that one. Probably shouldn't have. But does this time around. So, as I mentioned, as soon as that T-34 goes down, Vesely loses control of the town, and that's a lot of flags now in control of Gonzo. He's managed to get both the top and bottom side of these towns, and that is where the concentration of the flags is. This Avto standing in the way of the Jaegers, but that is just such a serious amount of MP40s. The Avtos just get dissolved. The Avtos further up did manage to take out the Jaegers because the Jaeger squads got isolated. More Jaegers on the way, being unloaded by the 50 cal of the M2A1 half track currently. Jaeger Pioneer on the way, Stug 3. It's pretty standard setup here from the 28th Jager. Jagers are 20 points a pop, quite cheap line infantry, and you're backing them up with these Stugs, which are really good for dealing with the T-34 76s. Now T-34 85s is a bit of a different story. Stugs don't deal too well, especially in the current patch, against T-34 85s. Mainly because the penetration at range has been increased lately on T-34 85s. In this patch, that was not the case, but T-34 85s are still a lot better against Stugs than T-34 76s because of their better front armor and also the better penetration. So the T-34 85s kind of trump the Stug 3s, and that's something that Vesely's going to have to look into using if he wants to try and shut down this infantry armor play that Gonzo's getting a lot of success out of at the moment. The Jager Pioneer Fiore here, making these Jager 2-star veterancy, actually is really scary for Vesely's infantry. The Avtos did manage to do well here to clean out this infantry in the trees, but it cost them a lot of men to do so, that's for sure. And any engagement from range from the Jaegers automatically goes in favor of the Jaegers because of the MG42. So the Avtos have to be watching out for that. Pack 38 on the ridge, looking for the penetrations onto the T-34. Maxim was trying to hit this Ersatstruppen, but the Focke-Wulf getting a lovely strafe in there. We are currently back to 13 to 11 as the Gvardia do come into the top side, and the top side has pretty much been entirely secured by Vesely. Haven't really been paying attention to this counter-attack, but really, really nice job up here to break down Gonzo's weak spot and push through. The two BA-10Ms could really shut down a lot of the infantry that's coming in. And for the first time in the game, Vesely does get ahead on flags, but the Sapere, they'd come in, they get hit very hard by the Jaegers. One of the squads did die of the Jaegers, but still two more available. 4 versus 1, Jaegers get the job done. And also the Avtos there, really low amount of men in that squad. There's only 1 man left, so he's going to probably die shortly. Panzerjäger following up the Jaegers, and this T-34 is in trouble. And this T-34 is moving up. Might be able to actually put pressure on the flag, but Gonzo did leave a Jaeger here in the building. Very smart to make sure that that didn't get captured back, whilst he moved up his other squads. MG42's going to be opening up onto the Gvardia here as they show themselves. These BA-10Ms being used perfectly to kill a lot of these Jaegers. 2 Panzerstrikes being brought in as well. Better not let them get sniped by the Stug, that would be rather counterproductive. Jaeger's dead. Yeah, I think Vesely has found a good counter to the Jaegers here with the Sapere. So seeing them used on that top side's working out quite well, but on the bottom things are still not looking too great. The Jaegers have just killed off the 37 here with the MG42s, so nicely done. The T-34 here got taken out by the Stug, and the Jaegers are putting pressure onto this T-34 as well. SG-122 goes down in the open, and that is 3 significant armor pieces taken out one after the other, and leaves a massive disparity on the bottom side of this map. Oh, and here as well, what a mistake. T-34-85 goes down to the Jaegers in the town. And even on the top side now, it looks like Vesely is being caught out. He's being stretched thin by Gonzo. Gonzo is just such a fast and furious player, playing multiple sides of the map at once. And if you're not paying attention for 2 seconds, you're going to get caught out one way or another. Flamer squad here, under threat. Has been spotted. MG42s will take them out. Panzerjäger gets the second half-track kill here. Those or the Tankos, sorry, they are not going to want to continue that ranged engagement. That's not good for them at all. They just want to get up close and personal. But even so, like these Jaegers, they're going to still be strong. P3, nice bombing strike, does take out the leader here. And also, I mean, these Jaegers, they're in trouble. The Sapere, again, getting the better of them at the ranged engagement. The SVT is really, really good in that matchup. But now we're seeing Gonzo make a counter push on the top side. So the Sapere were working well for Vesely as long as they were high health squads. But Now Gonzo's completely reinforced. He's even brought in the Jager to make the 2-star veterancy. He's going to get a lot of value out of these Jager Pioneers and be able to push all the way back and take back these flags, whilst he still controls the center area and also this town area on the top side. So back to 17 to 7 minutes and 55 seconds back or left on the clock. So it looked like for a second there that Vesely was getting back into the game as he made a counter push on the top side. But it was short-lived, unfortunately, and Gonzo's got it under control by the looks of things. And with the Focke-Wulfs coming in for the strafing run, it's going to make it very difficult for these Gavardia. Oh, that's a lot of damage done to that squad as well. P2 coming in with the bombing strike onto the Jaegers. Not bad. Sapere will be able to kill off another unit of Jaegers here, most likely. And like more Sapere on this bottom side would be quite nice. There is a Tiger that can stop the Stug. So he's got the armor. He just needs the infantry to play up against Gonzo. And at a mid-range engagement, even like standard Gavardia would probably defeat Jaegers. It's just when the Jaegers, of course, get close that you have issues. So that's why you're seeing Gonzo so easily and decisively taking back these top and bottom sides of the map when he puts a significant number of forces towards it. The Sapere worked for Vesely, but he probably has a very limited availability of those on his deck, and that's causing him issues. So major defeat in 3 minutes and 10 seconds now, as another flag is captured by Vesely. Oh, sorry, Gonzo. But Vesely here is doing a good job with his PTRS squad, sniping multiple transports along this road. Very cool. I was thinking maybe he would try and strafe it with the Focke-Wulf, but I don't think he can spot it yet. Aegis 129, B2, R3 coming on to the field. Interesting to see. Jaeger's going to be going for the Gavardia there, but let's have a look, see if this can hit the mark. Sorry, I'm just trying to zoom in onto this. Okay, looks like it lost line of sight. Couldn't keep firing at the T-34-85. T-34-85 is going to survive for the time being. Aegis 129 is quite slow. The 37mm might take it out, but I doubt it. Probably need 2 firing on target, and currently this one's in a really bad position behind the trees there. But 20 flags to 4. That is a significant lead that Gonzo has managed to amount onto Vesely, and I really do think it comes down to the lack of line infantry supporting the tanks of Vesely. Probably just suffering for availability. I think that the 10th Guards does have a little bit of an availability issue and also quality issue of infantry. It probably only has like 1 card of Sapere on the deck. So there you go. Just more T-34s just rushing forwards, and that's a tough thing to do with the T-34s because every single unit that Gonzo is bringing in has Panzerfaust. So yeah, it's that's quite something. So he's just charging forwards at the moment. It looks like Vesely's just trying to make ground as quickly as possible by moving these forwards. It's quite a lot of AT guns though, the Pak-40, the Pak-38. The Pak-38 will probably go down to these guys. PE2 coming in with a bombing strike though onto this flag. If he could have a medium tank drive towards each of the flags in the center, then maybe he could make it work, but it's just not enough time here. 20 seconds left. These guys are going to end up getting surrounded. One of them just got turret stuck there as well from the Pak-40. And, well, Vesely is going to give it up. Major defeat, 20 minutes, 40 seconds. Gonzo getting a lot of value out of his infantry there and ending up with 2,410 kills to 1,715 losses. That was an interesting one. I don't think Vesely necessarily did bad. I think in the mid-game there, he definitely surprised me a lot with that small comeback on the top side. But ultimately, the infantry was just not there for Vesely with the 10th Guards, and the 28th Jager really, really exploited that. Like even the Avtos or the Tankos that Vesely had just weren't enough. I think the biggest issue was like not enough numbers. The investment in the tanks left him a bit dry on points, and therefore he would bring in like 1 or 2 squads of Avtos to deal with Gonzo, but then Gonzo would bring in like 4 units of Jagers, because the Jagers are very cost efficient at 20 points at close range. So Gonzo made great use of that. We do see the bombers getting some decent kills. I do think the P2 bombers were a good choice and they worked out quite nicely, but they can't really carry against that much infantry. The Focke-Wulfs, however, Focke-Wulfs were strafing very nicely. Gonzo managed to win those air trades, and he got the AI up so he could bait the P2 that got shot down, and then the Focke-Wulf or the Cobra as well in the end. So there we go. Look at those Jaegers trading. That's a lot of kills for these Jaegers. These are 20-point squads, killing like 2 units of 15-point infantry. These are 25-point infantry. I think that's happening. The 1942 there. That's just a lot of value out of those Jaegers, and the Stugs matching up nicely to the T-34s early on. Maybe it would have been better to see more T-34-85s initially from Vesely. Maybe even the Panthers. I think there are Panthers available for the 10th Guard, so that would have certainly made it difficult for Gonzo to advance with anything across the open, at least. With the Su-122 in support, that would have been quite nice. I like the positioning of the Su-122. I think it was put in a really nice place where it could do a lot of damage to units in the open ground, but again, wasn't really enough if there isn't the infantry to move ahead of your units, and that's where Vesely struggled here. I think mainly due to the deck he was using, or the battle group he was using. So there you go, that's game 1 of a best of 3 between Vesely and Gonzo. We're going to be moving on to game 2, of course, in the next video. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.